I'm going to do a little talking here. The first thing we have to do, see if I can get this thing set up a little bit better. There we go. Maybe get it all set up a little bit better. The first thing we have to do is not be impressed by anybody. You can't be impressed. You'll do what you have to do, but never be impressed with anybody. Never give away the power you have. Never let your opponent win by presenting the symbol of impressiveness. Don't let him leverage phony symbols of triumph. Don't be impressed with him. You go ahead. Move forward. You do this by not becoming addicted to the presence, by catching yourself when you're projecting away power, your power, by catching yourself and stopping yourself when you are hero worshiping. Know what you do, know what you look like, know what your body language is like when you're hero worshiping. When you're worshiping your God, your guru, and trying to imitate him because you think he's got the answers, because you think he's the man among men. He ain't nothing. He's nothing, man. You and I have to understand that. This man is nothing. Don't disrespect him to the point where you don't take proper consideration and proper account of power. You have to be totally realistic and practical about what you're facing, about the resistances you're facing here and now. Pretense, not knowing yourself, where your vulnerabilities are, where I'm vulnerable, not having properly prepared your mind, your will, to make yourself an army of one, to forge yourself into a rock and an island, a solid rock and a solid island. When you take back all of your power, when you don't need him or her, you take it back. When you can do that, then you can go anywhere, point that in any direction, because you don't need the roar of the crowd, the smell of the grease paint. Because you know sooner or later you're going to have to take that walk to Golgotha. You're going to have to carry your own cross. You're going to have to face the mockery, the accusation. The pretense is over with. You don't lie on the way to Golgotha and carrying your own cross, where you're going to meet Thanatos, which is your death process within you. And you're going to have to make a deal with Thanatos. You do that anyway because nobody knows. Nobody has the time. It's called the Scion, unified as a totality with its own death. I died my own death, said Fritz Perls, in and out of the garbage can. I cleaned out my own Aegean stables. I systematically challenged and got rid of all the phoniness within myself to such an extent where I didn't need him. I aufgehoben. I overcame and took back my power. I learned from him and then took it back to the point to where I could do it under my own self-sufficiency and self-support and self-motivation. I kept on motivating. I knew how to motivate myself. I knew how to instigate myself. I didn't need the roar of the crowd, the smell of the grease paint. I didn't need to impress anybody. By any women coming up and cheering for me and rah-rah-rahing me, giving me the phony energy, phony smiles. I didn't need that. I gave it to myself. I learned give myself what my society won't give me because of the way I look, because of my height, because of my continence. That's those facial features that you see right here. That big old moon face, the big gross features, E.T., short, small man, troll, gnome, dwarf. I was ready for that. Broken and scarred with whiplash insult. There ain't nothing my adversary can call me or say to me I haven't heard before. Doesn't bother me at all. If I have no medical problem, that's just water off in a duck's back. He give me hell, you give him hell right back. That's all. Get into it. Get into it. Have some fun with it. What the hell do you care? A week from now, it's all forgotten. Just ether. It was just the happening. That's all it was. You made a big deal out of it. It wasn't nothing. But on the other hand, you have to be in tremendous physical shape. That's a mistake I made. Drive iron! But don't become a musclehead. Do other activities. The most important thing is fluidity in the body, speed, flexibility, power, brute power inside your body, and a mind of steel. It's a steel trap. That's powerful. The will, strong, powerful. And most importantly, not to be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassable. Don't be sensitive. If you're insulted, he doesn't see it as an insult. He sees it as action-reaction. Counterpunch hard and keep counterpunching. Stomp on him. He stomps on you, you stomp right back. I'm firmly convinced everything has to be done aggressively, loudly, and with full commitment. Even if you're well prepared, you had a plan. Put the plan into action, but be flexible, be able to, and adaptable to alter it according to circumstances. Retreat when you have to. Nothing wrong with that. To come back and fight back tomorrow. To reassess your resources. To ask yourself the tough, hard, critical questions and come back with new tactics. New strategies. It's all about that. He left the scene, but he's coming back. I didn't leave the scene like a beat dog. Watch the posture, that's everything. But you can't do any of these things, my friend, if you're not in tremendous physical shape. You don't have power in your body. They'll push you aside and stomp on you. I've experienced this. This is the voice of experience that's talking right here. Who can come up against me? Who can challenge what I'm saying? It's a voice of experience that's been down. Walk down those stairs, walk a mile in my shoe. Spend an evening with me on the Central Park bench in the dead of winter. Wind chill factor, it's at 22 degrees outside, but the wind chill factor break it down to about 7-8 degrees above zero. Man, that wind cold. The hawk keeps changing directions. I thought I had the hawk beat. But as the night hours drag on, the hawk's going into my bones, and now this is real pain. Tell it to the hawk under those conditions. Tell it to Thanatos under those conditions. Without, that's why I love Christopher Hitchens' Mortality. He wrote the book Mortality, one of the best confessions I've ever read. Mr. Hitchens faced his own death from a fast-growing esophageal cancer as an atheist. He faced the agony, he faced the pain, he faced the losses head on. He faced the horror of the treatment to try to preserve and save his life head on. He went against horrific odds. Of course, he lost the fight. But he stood against the agony, went into the agony of that kind of a thing. I can't imagine what that's like. Mr. Hitchens talks about it in Mortality. What a contribution. This is what it takes when you have that conversation with Thanatos, when you get to your own Golgotha, carrying your own cross. And on the way, you're being mocked, ridiculed by your past people who have stereotyped. And remember, and the full knowing, there's a lot of truth in the caricatures and the mockery and the stereotypes. There's a lot of truth in it. A lot of truth in it. When you're called a name, look at yourself, look at how you behaved. Look what you look like. Look what first premises you gave your attackers. Look to yourself, my friend. Question yourself very good. Don't run and hide from yourself. There's always somebody who'll show you to you. You can't avoid it. Anytime you step out your door, it's showtime. Anytime you engage, you stand a risk to be mocked, ridiculed, and embarrassed. Learn how to give mock, ridicule, and embarrassment right back. Start with your opponent's vulnerabilities. Build a case against him to keep it in your back pocket should you need it, should he give you reason. Don't turn a cheek on him. Don't let it slide. Don't create vendettas for tomorrow. No vendettas, because you took care of what needed to be taken care of right here and now. You asserted yourself when you had to. What do you get out of it? You can live with yourself, my friend. How do him live with himself when him be passive? How do him live with himself when him be a coward? How do him live with himself when him run and hide? How do you live with yourself when you procrastinate and look for rationalizations and justifications to procrastinate and run and hide and watch yourself spiral downhill continuously? Tell it to me. I am alienated man. I am the stranger. Any question?